Yes, what's going on, everybody? We are now live. How you guys doing? Yesterday, what a day, man. I, Neomis, I thought about dropping a video today, and halfway through the day, I said, "Nah," I said, "I'm not gonna do it." And then I don't know, something hit me about 3 o'clock. I said, "Screw it! I'm just gonna let it out. I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna
Yep.
talk about what needs to be talked about." And
hmm
then I did. I just uploaded my video. It was a rant. I don't normally do rants. I think it's the only second rant I've done in the 2 years I've had my video.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
What's your reaction coming out of it?
Well, I didn't watch it live. I s- I had it recorded, watched it, and then decided at about 70 minutes in, I decided I'm gonna go to bed because it was just it's the worst performance I've seen this season. I
Yeah,
like it was a it was a mixture of all the things that we've seen go wrong this season, that with the attack just not being as potent as we know that they can be in terms of their individual talent, the
mm,
defense just having a bad day and look like they're half asleep, and then you have
yep,
a midfield that's just constantly making little mistakes. And to be honest, and then I think that the Aston Villa manager really had Arteta's number. He put a formation out that perfectly counteract the
yeah,
formation that we had. And I think they was playing like a 4-2-3 one, if I'm familiar.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so every time they tried to go up, if you didn't have the midfield balance right, that defense was just getting exposed. It was
Mm.
what, 5-on-4, 4 or 5 on
Yeah,
three.
they had a five-man midfield, and it was crushing us, and we couldn't adjust to it.
hmm
And obviously, we're going to talk about that moving forward. We couldn't adjust to it, and Dean Smith just obliterated Mikel Arteta. Hey, I've
Yeah.
seen Mikel Arteta get at Jurgen Klopp. I've seen him get at Pep. I've seen him get at Solskjaer. I've seen him pull the wool over Frank Lampard's eyes. But come on, man. I mean, this is
Yeah.
Dean Smith, and you got played, bro. You got played real good.
I mean, maybe we should have seen it because all throughout the season, Aston Villa have played well. I know their last couple of games haven't been great, but they are a very improved side. Um, I really don't know what to say. The only thing I will say though is that going forward, Arteta still. I know he's still in this process of changing the team, but
Of
he
course,
needs
yeah.
to add another layer onto this Arsenal squad in terms of what they can do, because once Plan A didn't work, there was just no proper effective Plan B, and there was nothing really on the bench that you could even try to put a Plan B going forward. But
Yeah, I mean,
hey,
it's funny you mentioned that because one of the things that I wanted to talk about and address is the fact that this is awful. This is really awful. The fact that the halftime adjustments, so we talked about the water breaks and everything like that,
mhm,
and Arteta's just not able to change anything at the moment. I mean, I just don't understand what is going on in there at halftime. What is going on? What are you saying to your players? How are you adjusting the flow of the game? Because we know he can do it. When all the water breaks happened, again, I always bring this back, don't I, to our form on the back end of last year in
yep,
comparison to our form now. It's almost night and day. And the
yep,
reason why I let go 2 weeks ago is because I admitted to myself that we aren't that team anymore. And we can see that visually on the field that we're just not the same team because we don't have the same tactics. And the one thing that the one defining factor, and believe me, it is one factor, there's one defining factor, and that is the switch to four at the back. That is the only thing that I can think of that is different from now to then. Is this four at the back adjustment that we're having is absolutely a disaster. It's a major disaster, and it's almost like we're not we're trying to be something that we're not. And with that happening, it's causing all kinds of problems. There's just no balance in the team at all. We still haven't seen Maitland-Niles, who was one of the beasts. This guy started against the best teams in the league and took out their big boys. Yeah, and we can't even bring him on the field to Mark Grealish.
Well, but this is the problem with Arteta, because I feel that if he doesn't watch out, he's going to make the same mistakes that Unai Emery did, particularly in Unai Emery's second season. Unai focused on playing the way how he wanted to play instead of focusing to try to get the best out of the players that he had, and it has to change, because we're coming up to whereby we are about 25% of the way in the season now, and these things have to be changed now. We can't get to a point where we're halfway in the season and only then that's waiting for January in order to make changes. He has to play what's best for the players that's there. That means that, I'm sorry to say this, but the Willian experiment is over.
I agree. I said that in my video today. Yeah.
I mean, I like Willian. I thought at Chelsea he was a very good player, but he just looks like a shadow of his former self. I mean, you can bring him back at some point in the future, but just not now. Play Aubameyang through the middle. Let's get the best out of him, and you have to put balance around him. Like Bertram always says that our forwards have deficiencies or like about them. That yes, Aubameyang does have his deficiencies, so you have to play players around him that's gonna be able to get the best out of him. I've even thought instead of playing with this three-pronged attack with two wide players and one central striker, to almost play with two central strikers with a number 10 close behind them. And I thought Aubameyang would be up top, partner with Nketiah because he's got energy, and then Pepe behind, because apart from Lacazette, probably Saka and Pepe are the only ones I feel that can really hold the ball up and still give you a little bit of creativity behind. So Arteta's going to have to figure something out. He really does.
And I kind of think the way, let me say hi to the guys because the chat room's piling up now. 18, what's going on, bro? What's happening, 18? Cool K is saying, if we're very defensive as it's spouted around here, we shouldn't be conceding 3 goals to Aston Villa. Liverpool conceded 7 to them, bro. Leeds beat them 4-3. It's I look, this season anything can happen. He said yesterday, I don't think we defended well enough. I agree. That's what I talked about in my video. David is saying play 4-2-3-1. We were trying that, bro. We were playing 4-3-3 actually, but I think 4 at the back is still the problem. I just think it's a system problem, and that's exactly what Cool K is saying there. Hey, Mr. B, what's going on? What's cooking, bro? Listen, I wasn't going to do a show, but I just thought I'd come on. Neomis didn't really get to be on the stream yesterday, so I thought I'd come on and talk about it with him. I'm not sure if the other guys are going to show. And Mr. B says it was a dog shit performance yesterday. It was a horrible performance. Those are performances that will get teams sacked because there was just nothing. And there's this thread, and I keep bringing it up, that in the second half, we're just not seeing anything, any adjustments. We were flat in the second half against Man City. We offered nothing. We were flat in the second half against Leicester City, and we were flat in the second half against Aston Villa. And I want to talk about something here and say there's a statistic here, which we've only won one of the previous 6 matches under Arteta where we've been trailing at half time, losing on 4 occasions, and that's the last 4 games. And actually now we can make it 5. Arteta has been struggling to maintain a lead, but on a serious note, it's the adjustments at the second half. That's the key. For me, he's not making those adjustments in the second half, and that is what's killing the team. And on top of that, that goes, sometimes when you get it wrong, remember, Emery just used to spot it straight away, and at halftime, we'd see a substitution. And people used to clap and say, oh, I can't believe we're actually seeing halftime of substitutions. And then I used to say to the fan base, no, guys, we're seeing substitutions because he got it wrong. Yeah. He got the team sheet wrong. He got the tactics wrong. That's why we're seeing substitutions. With Arteta, he's getting it wrong, and he's not identifying it. So it's going through the 50th, the 60th, most times the 70th minute, and it's not until the 80th minute that we're seeing changes, and by that time it's too late.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, I was surprised. Well, I don't know if I should be surprised because I didn't think he had a great game, but Thomas Partey basically coming off at halftime. That's when I really knew that Arteta really knew that he got it wrong. But I mean,
and he admitted that. I mean, in my video today, I said he said it's on me, it's on my shoulders, and the video. Sorry guys, I released the video at 8 o'clock because I've just been busy. I do a 9 to 5 job. Everybody knows I'm still working, man. So when I'm doing Arsenal stuff, it all gets sort of shoehorned in. So yeah, I said the exact same thing. Sorry, go on, Neoms.
No, I was gonna say, what do you think is what we can do to really progress forward and change? Because I mean, a lot of the things that what we've seen probably since Fulham, I think have kind of come home to roost here in this game. I didn't think it'd be like this emphatic, but I mean, do you think it's a formation? Like, what players do you think should come in? Like,
well, again, yeah. I can go on top of the video that I released earlier on today. 60 people have already watched it actually, so it's not there's not too many. But I did say it's time to give up on your dream of Lacazette being your striker, and it's time to give up on Willian being your creator. Not entirely, because you can still give him a chance, but I just think that boat has sailed now. So I'm saying that we should be starting Nketiah up front, we should be starting Pepe on the right, and we should be starting Willock. And Willock's got to play in front of, well, you know what? Because Saka plays in front of Partey and El Nene. So, and I don't really want to upset Saka. You could actually put Saka on the right. You could, but I just wouldn't do that because Pepe's so productive at the moment. The only thing Pepe doesn't do is defend. And I pointed that out in the video where I signaled on the second goal. Nketiah points back to him and says, watch Ginn. Don't let Ginn run behind you. Pepe doesn't even acknowledge it. Pepe's looking at him, and Pepe's just walking and strolling. And Ginn makes a run on there. He one touch volleys the ball into the net, and it goes in, and they're 2-0 up. But but Pepe was awful. Defended it. He wasn't interested. He didn't want to know. He didn't want to track anybody. If the play's going forward, then Pepe's interested. But anything defensively, and I said this weeks ago, you're not going to get. That's why I've been advocating for Reece Nelson to play, because Reece Nelson will defend for you. And unfortunately, that's what happens. So for me, Neomis, I'm starting like straight away Willock, and I'm playing Nketiah, and I'm playing Pepe. And I'm going to start from there and see the reaction. And what that will do is two things. That would infuse the players that are getting it done, because on a Thursday night, we're scoring 3 and 4 goals for fun.
Yeah,
we're just not doing it on the weekend. So that gives those guys a chance because they deserve it. The second thing it would do is it will alienate the guys who are messing up. And then you bring them on with 10, 15 minutes left or 20 minutes. And then you say to them, okay, guys, I didn't start you because I didn't anything from you of late. If you want to get back in the first team, show me something. Show me your skill. Show me your desire. Show me your hunger. And show me what I believe that you have in your back pocket. And that's where you will then see a different Lacazette, because you saw that when Lacazette was benched for Nketiah at the end of last season. Man come in and started running like I'd never seen him run before. Man was running like he stole something. He was running like he stole something.
Very true. Very, 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 very true. And the thing is, I think it's easier for an Nketiah to get into our side because I think he's already so close. I'd love to see more. I'd love to see Reece get like a proper chance in there, but I like Reece Nelson struggles to even make our squad. I mean, for me, that's the biggest concern that I have, that Arteta is really trying to keep hold of Willian and Pepe, that make sure that they're happy.
It's almost trying to justify his purchase in the summer and justify his 220 grand a week. He's almost trying to justify it. by saying no. I told you he was the creative player we needed. He's 7th best in the league last season. I will not give up. I'm right. I know I'm right, and I'm going to show you that I'm right. That's what Arteta's essentially. That's what he's saying.
He's going to end up falling on his sword by that one. It's like Willian can improve. It's just not right now. But maybe play Willian in the Europa League. Let him get some confidence going and see how it goes. But from right now, I'm done with Willian at the moment. I think definitely drastic changes are needed, and Reece Nelson in there is not a bad shout. I think the guy needs games, and I don't think I've ever seen Reece Nelson play 90 minutes in the Premier League, and definitely on multiple games. So
he's only played sparingly, and especially when Freddie Ljungberg came in, he got 2 starts then. Over Pepe, and that's where I saw defensively how good he can be. The thing for me is Reece Nelson. The thing for me is even when we played them in the FA Cup, he started an FA Cup game last year against Portsmouth and dominated the game. He got 2 assists. If you can remember, the first one was to Socrates. And that was when Socrates toe poked it in. It was he goes past players. He had the ball on the halfway line. He beat 2 defenders and got a cross in, and it was a fantastic cross. He pinpointed it, knew where he was going, and look, he can do that for you. And he's been doing it every time he's been playing. He's ready. He just hasn't the opportunity. Andrew's saying, question: has it got to get worse before it gets better? It's already worse, bro. It's already, and that's the reason why they have to make these wholesale changes. Because if you start Nketiah, Pepe, or Reece Nelson, or Willock, what have you got to lose? You're already not performing. You're already, and it's not like I said yesterday on the stream. It's not an anomaly. It's a trend because it's been happening for that long. Yeah, it's a trend. It's happened so many times, and it will happen again. So what you do is you got to cut it off now. You got to put a stamp on it and rid the head of the snake. Just get rid of it straight away. I can tell you guys the last time this happened. Let me just bring Ebbs in. What's going on, Ebbs?
Yeah, I'm still angry, still upset.
Well, you can let it all out. I released my rant video, so I've got it all out of my system now. Those of you, you've got Angel Apollo on one shoulder and Devil Apollo on the other. And those of you who want to see the Devil Apollo, just flick in and watch that video that I uploaded today. It's not nice. But the one thing we can say, guys, is this is the lowest scoring tally for the Gunners after 8 Premier League matches since 1998. And in that season, we had 2 3-0 wins, and we had consecutive 0-0 draws. Arsenal did, however, go on to concede just 17 goals in that whole season and finish 1 point off Man United for the title in 2nd place. So it can be turned around. It just needs to happen. Osman, what's going on, bro? Osman saying Alex Ferguson finished pre-93, 11th, 2nd, 11th, 13th, 6th, and then 2nd. And, there will be bumpy roads. Yes, I totally agree. And I love that post by you, Osman, because that's what I've been saying on the live stream and in my video today. Pamper your expectations, everybody. It can't be done all in one season. Jurgen Klopp finished 8th in his first season. Took him 4 years to win the Champions League, 5 years to win the title. We're all expecting it to be done now. We want Rome to be built in a day. And we know we do. And we should slap ourselves for that. But at the same time, at that point, we're part of the problem as well, because it's almost like we're not expecting these things. These things are going to happen, guys. We need to accept it. Niamis, you want to chime in?
I mean, yes, these things are supposed to happen, but not against Aston Villa. Like, even before the game yesterday, like, in order for us to truly progress into the top 4 again, like I did all the calculations, and I'm thinking we're going to need about 80 points. Games like Aston Villa, you cannot lose. Like, okay, games like Manchester United, you probably expect a draw. Leicester, you expect a draw. The win we got at Manchester United made those losses against Leicester, like it made up for it. But to have this game against Villa, like, yes, I know Villa are a better side than they were a couple of years ago. Yes, they've got some good players, but you have to put them away. We've got Leeds next. I rate Leeds. Leeds are a good side to watch and entertaining, but we have to win. Like, no draws, no losses. We have to win, and we have to be ruthless and consistent when we go out and play these games. Like, I know we're going to have tough games, but you just have to put them away. These are the types of games that, for me, Arsenal make the mistakes every single season. Like, Brighton in recent years have been a bogey team for us. Either we lose or we draw to them home and away. Like, those are games that you have to put them away.
And the thing is, I don't even think we're being in that place anymore. And I've been saying for years, this is touted as the best Premier League, best league in the world, and we can see why now, because there's a high level of parity, and any of these teams will smoke you. Yeah, this happened. Look, last year, everyone was talking about Norwich and Watford getting relegated. We couldn't beat them in the first week. We drawed both teams. We couldn't beat. This has been going on for a long time, and right now we are. There is no privilege for Arsenal fans where we expect to show up somewhere and get 3 points. Those days are gone, bro. No. Big shout out to Bertram. Bertram, I normally, when he says I normally say indeed. Yeah. And Tony, big shout out to you. Big shout out to you, man. Kilke saying, what has to stop is this nonsense of Uber out wide and Lacazette centrally.
Yes.
I thought that Arteta stopped that. I thought that we saw those 2 games, didn't we, where Arteta played centrally, and he's going to put him back on the wing again.
Can I just say that, if you want the best out of Aubameyang, you're going to have to play him at centre front. Okay, yeah. He produces nothing on the wing. And we've seen it time and time and time again. It's like, listen, I love Arteta, and I'm not one for calling him to go. And I know there's a lot of fans calling him out to go.
That's ridiculous.
He's above his station. He's punching above his weight. He hasn't got a clue what he's doing. He's going to make, as I said before, he's going to make mistakes. Okay?
He ain't even been there a year yet.
I know, and this is the
1
thing.
year,
and we can't.
2 trophies.
We can't keep exactly one year 2 trophies, or not even a year 2 trophies. And the fact of the matter is, yes, he's going to make mistakes. All managers make mistakes, but we can't be this team where we chop and change managers all the time now, because that is literally what the game is today. It's like if a manager doesn't produce just like that within 5 minutes, they're out the door. We can't be doing that. That's not the type of team that we are. Well, we've become that team now because Unai Emery was just all over the place. But the fact of the matter is, Arteta must have looked at this by now and thought, right, okay, Aubameyang is not producing on the wing. He needs to be centre front. Lacazette needs to be sat on the bench. Okay.
That's not the answer.
We need Ozil. We need Ozil. That's done now. We need Ozil, man. They can't redeem themselves till January with the Ozil situation. Seriously, yeah. I went in on them today on my video about that as well. They need to get that shit sorted out. But Tony's saying we need Ozil. He's saying so many errors in the whole team setup. And the frustrating thing is, Tony, that's been happening like every week. And Arteta's just let it fester and let it fester and let it fester into this disease that is incurable because it's not doing what he wants it to do. It's failed. It's over, Arteta. It's done, mate. You got to change it. Bertram saying, Tierney, Gabriel, Louise, El Nene, Partey, Willock, Saka, Uber, Aubameyang. Yeah, I'd go with that. If he wants to put Aubameyang in the middle, then yes, I would put Aubameyang instead of Nketiah because obviously he's a world-class player. And you've got Saka and Pepe there, which at the moment, both of them are on top of their games. So I definitely would agree with that. Sorry, Ebony, you were saying?
Yeah, I mean, you know, yesterday's game, because you actually put some stuff on the Facebook page, and when you're watching a game, it's like you can see what's happening, but when you actually see aerial pictures of the spaces in the middle of the park that we did not cover, and we're on, you know, we're literally on the goal line. It's like, you know, since when did we become that defensive team? We don't we attack and we counter attack. We don't do that lineup, you know, I don't know, you know, those defensive teams like Bolton and Sam Allardyce teams. We don't do that. And yesterday, the midfield was just absolutely atrocious. But I'm not taking anything away from Aston Villa because they played well and they actually won that battle in the middle of the park. But for us, it's just no creation. You know, defensively, I mean, I've had to think about defensively, and defensively, I'm still going to say it. You know, what's his name? Bellerin was our best defender. Rob Holding was dreadful.
Yeah,
I mean,
Bellerin wasn't great either.
I actually made a mistake in saying that Rob Holding was our best defender, and I thought, hang on a minute, no, he wasn't. He was.
Yeah.
The problem with Rob Holding is that he's a good defender, but he lacks pace, and we see that. And he was roasted yesterday. He was in someone's back pocket yesterday.
After seeing the game again, I'm not pinpointing Rob Holding, and I'm not saying that because I'm not saying that because I'm a big fan of the player and I know his agent. I'm saying that because when I analysed the game, when I watched it a second time, they were all rubbish. And if you watch the video that I uploaded before this, I had to go at everybody. I had to go at Gabriel. I had to go at. They were all rubbish. They were all rubbish.
Yeah, Gabriel just wasn't in the game yesterday, and maybe that's down to Aston Villa's tactics.
No. I mean, when I looked at it, they were rubbish. They just weren't tracking. They weren't tracking any players running into the box, and Villa was running into the box at will. And I think
it's as if you know the defenders were like, all right, have a go. We're scared today.
I think from a coaching tactical standpoint, when you look at the statistics and you find out that this team is averaging. Let me just go to the statistics here. When you look at the fact that this team is averaging 8.8 shots per game, that's not a lot. And what that does as a manager, and I talked about this in the preview for the Villa game, I said, Villa are either going to come to the Emirates and sit deep, and we can invite them, and we can then pressure them, and the game will be played in their half, which a lot of teams actually do when they come to the Emirates, or Villa's going to come at us. And I said, if they come at us, we are going to be under hella trouble. I didn't see Dean Smith put in 5 in the midfield. That was a masterstroke. I didn't see that coming, and it absolutely murdered us because you know, I'm reading here Arsenal's 33 shot attempts in the second half. So again, we're going back to second half adjustments. Is fewer than any of the 91 teams across all 4 divisions in English football.
That's despicable.
That is terrible.
That's despicable. That's embarrassing. That's actually embarrassing. That's actually worse than
the worst that I've ever read.
Yesterday's game was actually more embarrassing. It was more embarrassing than the 8-2 loss at Old Trafford.
It's happened because of what I said to you about 10 minutes ago. Because we're not making halftime adjustments. We're not. What are we talking about at halftime? What are we saying? Are we bringing a plastic bowl in with a Tupperware bowl with orange slices and giving it to the team? Is that what we're doing? Because I can't see any changes, any tactical changes, any motion. I can't see anything. I really can't see it. And remember when Guendouzi used to run along the sideline and say to the manager, this is wrong. We need to change it. We need to do this. And the manager would give him instructions. And Guendouzi would run onto the players and say, guys, yeah, this is what we're doing. I want you here. This is what you got to do now. We're playing this way. We're going to push at these minutes, at these intervals. There's nobody running onto the sideline to talk to Arteta about anything. And the one leader we got in the team, David Luiz, he ain't even playing. The one stud, the man-to-man marker, the Dion Sanders of cornerbacks in this league, which is Maitland-Niles, who can mark a man out of game. When was the last time he actually played?
Wasn't even playing yesterday, and that's the one player that you want in your team is A&M.
Big up to Joseph.
Amen.
Joseph, I love the donations from you, Joseph. Seriously, I really appreciate them, bro. I really do appreciate it. Thanks a lot for the donation, mate. It says, big up my favorites, Neomis, Apollo, and Ebony. Ooh,
thank you.
Tony and Bertram, naughty, naughty, naughty. The African Guna, naughty, naughty, naughty. So I think this is, it's now 6 hours and 26 minutes in the time Arsenal have still yet to score a goal from open play.
That's disgusting.
Oh,
and the players that we have, the strikers that we have, the defenders that we have, it's like, you know, the goalkeeper. Listen, don't even start me on the goalkeeper situation, because after the game finished yesterday, I intentionally, and I was upset that Emi Martinez was being interviewed. I just like put my phone away, and it's not a dig at him, it's a dig at the fact that he's playing for the team that beat us, and the same team that was near relegation last season. Yeah, do you remember they were near to relegation last season, and I look at them, and they've got our goalkeeper. So I couldn't really watch his post-match interview yesterday, but
I mean what a chance. You know, I mean, you talk about building a team around Jack Grealish. I mean, well, that's how you do it. This was a team that was fighting relegation, and they've come out and they're going toe-to-toe with Leeds. They've wiped Liverpool off the face of the map. I mean, Liverpool, that's a spanking that would send the team down to hell. Hades was interviewing those guys after the game, because my man put them in the pits of hell when they lost 7-2. That sent shockwaves around the world. And this is the team that we're playing. We're playing a team that's capable of doing that. And you had no plan. You went in there with no tactical plan to deal with that whatsoever. And I think, Andrew saying, what do we want? If a certain type of player is required, can they be coached to achieve the necessary? Yeah, they can be, but then that takes time. My issue is, I love the comments from Adrian, by the way. I love the comments by Adrian, but the one thing I don't agree with Adrian is you said Reece isn't the required levels. Now, we don't know that because Reece hasn't played. The only starts he's got was a couple under Lundberg, which he played really well in, and the FA Cup game against Portsmouth, which he was man of the match. He had 2 assists in that game. Outside of that, he's been a stud in the Europa League. So here's the thing, Adrian. You cannot defend the players that are in the current team right now. So your only option, your one and only option, is to replace them. And so whether Reece Nelson is ready or not, whether Eddie Nketiah, well, Nketiah is ready, so that's not a problem. I think we got to talk about Joe Willock, yeah? So whether Joe Willock and Reece Nelson are ready or not is not in question. What's in question is the people that are on the field right now are failing you. Every single week. It's a trend. It's happening every single week. And we have a pattern which is ugly. And we're defying the ethics of the team. Because we're talking about it's been 1998 since we done this. 1996 since we done this. The lowest shot attempts out of any team in the 4 divisions of English football. That's the team right now. So we can't sit back and say Reece isn't the required levels. We don't know that. We've got to put the guy in to give us a reaction, because that's how it's done. And if you get a reaction, fair play to you. Yeah, it worked when we did it with Nketiah last season. So why wouldn't it work with Willock or Nelson? And even if it doesn't work, what have you got to lose? What, exactly. We're going to play Lacazette and Willian again? And exactly. See the same. Do you see what I'm saying, Adrian? So I respect your opinion, and remember, everybody has an opinion, and everybody has to voice their opinion. And your opinion is Reece isn't of the required levels. My opinion is, and it's all subjective, is I think that if you play him, that he's going to shine for you, and I think that Willock is going to shine for you. And if you start Nketiah will score for you. Yeah, Nketiah's been getting 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here. No, he's running off the ball and into the box will pay off. He might miss a few chances, but what have we got to lose? Lacazette missing everything. Yeah, Lacazette missing everything, but Lacazette don't defend.
It's Lacazette that should be. I mean, I've stuck up for Lacazette many times, as you know,
Gotta be
but
dropped.
it's high time now that he needs to be dropped to the bench and then come on, because he's just not doing it. I mean, yesterday was a prime example that as somebody alluded to yesterday, he should have. I think it was you, Apollo, that he should have actually headed it down into the into the net, but it went over the crossbar, and it's just like. He missed a sitter as far as I'm concerned. That was a sitter. That was a goal. And he keeps doing it all the time. I mean, yes, he does score the odd goal here and there, but it's just, he can't last a long time either. I mean, I'm actually quite surprised that did he come off yesterday? Yeah, he did come off yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he's supposed to be an athlete, and he can't last the whole game.
And the thing is, I'm going to Tony here. Tony's saying Reece gets a nosebleed seat at the 18-yard box. My friend, I have been talking to you and Bertrand for the last 6 months, saying, even when you lot talked about Pepe, and I was like, nah, you got to play Reece in this game. Yeah. And I said to you, you got to play Maitland-Niles. Who was the man that was sticking up for Maitland-Niles a year ago? It was me. Yeah. And how did that turn out? Maitland-Niles is a stud. And guess what? He ain't even playing. Yeah. You'd call him a stallion. He ain't. Where is he? He ain't even playing. And the thing about Reece is Reece will defend for you. Look at the goal. Look at what Pepe did yesterday when he just standing there and Nketiah was saying to him, track McGinn, track Ginn. And for context of that, watch the video that I've uploaded today on YouTube. He won't defend for you. He's got all the magic and everything when he wants to switch it on up front. But I'm talking about an overall game. Willian's not doing nothing for you. Pepe's a liability defensively, but he'll score for you. Reece Nelson is your well-rounded, balanced player who will defend for you. He'll run down the channels. He'll beat a man. When was the last time we see Pepe go past the man? Yeah, he does a little bit of shimmy, and then he'll move the ball. He won't even run behind the line. Pepe's not going to give you that Walcott type of impact that we're used to. Give Reece Nelson a chance. Give Joe Willock a chance. Start Eddie Nketiah. Do something different. Yeah, do something different. Well, I get you guys are being subjective and objective, and I get where you're saying this guy's not right. But your option is to leave these degger people they're doing nothing. That's your option. Your option is to just leave the players on there now that are not doing nothing.
Well, see, this is the thing. I look at someone like Pepe and I compare him to Reece Nelson, and I agree with you. It's gotten to the point now where I'm like, play him. Like, let's see what he can do, because for me, the balance up front is just all wrong. I actually wonder whether Pepe is even going to make it at Arsenal, because this whole not defending, like, I don't care how talented you are going forward, how creative you are, if you're not doing the defensive work, like, there are so many coaches out there, all the top coaches will not play you. I mean, it's part of the reason why Mesut Ozil for a long time, like, people didn't want him being played. And for me, the only reason why you look to find a way for Pepe is because of how much it's going to cost, and how much he costs Arsenal. But I tell everyone in the comments, I don't see how it could get any worse by playing Reece Nelson in the side. At least give
because
him...
you got no options. You got no options. What are you going to do?
What about Emil Rose Smith? Yeah, I was going to say, Emil Smith Rowe. All these young players that we have. They're hungry. They will go out and beat players, and we have that opportunity. We have a good youth squad. Start using them, because you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to start bleeding them in the first team at some point, because players get older, and there are players who are degger. So therefore, bring in the young players. Just look at Nelson. Look at Emil Smith Rowe. Saka. I mean, he didn't have a great game yesterday, but even he, when he's ready, he will run past players.
Guys, history is repeating itself. These players who let down the managers last year forced the hand of Martinelli, Saka, Nketiah. Those are the three young players who really benefited from the terrible displays from our veterans. and history is repeating itself. And Nelson and Joe Willock and I hope Smith Rowe are going to be knocking at the door. And look, Martinelli's back next month as well. They're going to be knocking at the door to get rid of these guys. I mean, we're talking about creativity. Martinelli, jeez, we're talking about creativity. But history is going to repeat itself. Where
you know what I really fear. You know what I fear. You know, we have a propensity to buy players, and you know they're really good, and you know you see them as bit part players in cup matches, and then they go off. They're less sold because they're not being played enough, and then they go on to do great things elsewhere.
That's exactly.
I don't want that to happen.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
I do not want to see that history repeat itself over and over again. So as soon as Martinelli is actually fit enough to play, he needs to start. No questions asked.
We got a question for Neomis from Joseph.
Well, I would have said before this game, our midfield needed a Thomas Partey figure in there. I think that the balance between him and El Nene is good. I still think it needs that little bit of a creative spark to get things really going. But it's for me, it's not just the midfield anymore. It's the balance between, for me, the midfield and the attack that's the problem. Having a Joe Willock in there does improve. It does improve things, but then you're going to have to change formation, which upsets the balance as well. So it's a difficult situation whereby I
think that's why people are crying out for a 4-2-1-3. I think that's why, because you can play El Nene and Partey and just put Willock in front of them, which is what we were doing with Ozil, and that worked. I mean, that was Wenger's bread and butter. that made Ozil the highest, the most creative player in the league. Yeah, he was up there with Eriksen and De Bruyne, and there was nobody had created more chances over the last 5-year period. And remember, Joe Willock was being groomed into that role by Wenger. Yeah, that's what he was. That's why he was replacing Ozil after the 80th minute.
And you know what? Last season, even under Emery and Ljungberg, he started to play that role. And this is the thing. My only worry is the times when he was playing in there, a lot of times he just didn't get those decision making right. And I remember saying in videos that the only way for him to get better in that position is you have to play him in there, because the only way you learn from the right pass to make at the right time is to play. So I say, you know, I've reached a point where I'm like, you know what, why not? Because I know Joe Willock can score goals. I know he's versatile enough. He's going to put in a good work rate. So it's like, let's do it. I really need to see a change against Leeds in a couple weeks. For me, that's an absolute must.
I swear to God, if he picks the same team sheet, I'm going to shoot him. I'm going to go nuts. I'm going to go mental.
No, you're going to throw your mobile phone out the window.
Because the message that you're sending out to your starters is, oh, I know you're not playing well, but that's fine by me.
He's already been doing it.
And the message that you're sending out to Joe Willock and Maitland-Niles and Nketiah and all the other players is, don't worry about how good you're playing. You ain't going to get in the team. That's just going to piss your players off. And that's why we've seen over the years where players like Manchester United, players from Chelsea, players from Spurs, that's where we've seen these top teams where their players just completely fall by the wayside because they stopped playing for the manager. They've stopped playing for the manager. They've stopped playing the coach. And you can't even respect a man who's like us, Joe Willock. You've been man of the match in the last 2 Europa games, and you don't even make the bench. Yeah. What have I got to do to get onto the team? And like I said, I have 15 touches in a home game. 15 touches.
That's disgusting.
15 touches. Aubameyang, your captain, your prize striker. I ain't even had a shot on goal. When was the last time Aubameyang played a game where he didn't have a shot on goal?
It's a joke. It's a joke. I mean, you have to. Questions need to be asked of Arteta, and like I said, I love the man. He's actually got us playing better, particularly in defence, just not yesterday. But questions need to be asked about his selection, his tactics, and what does one need to do to get into the team. I mean, I don't want to. It's got to the point now where people are sick and tired of, oh well, burnout. Okay, fine. You want to save players from burnout. That's perfectly fine. But right now, we need these players to play. Otherwise, we're going to finish below mid-table. I can actually see us below mid-table. Not even 10th, 11th, and that's embarrassing.
Going back to a couple of questions, we were miffed why Santi wasn't brought back to the team in the summer. I can't understand it. I've asked a few agents about that, and they're all scratching their head. I would even be playing him at this point. And make no mistake, I would be playing him because we're just sadly missing that magic. CJ, our attitude is the problem. And that, again, is something I addressed in my video today when I talked about, skill or will. I talked about that on the podcast last night. And I talked about the fact that we have the whole defensive unit, Kieran Tierney, Gabriel, Holding, Bellerin, all of them were just not tracking any runs behind the wayside. And we just got obliterated on the back line. And any of the goals would have been stopped if we had got in front of an attacker and earn that space, claim that space that defenders are supposed to do. Don't let the guy run into the box and beat you. Track your man. We weren't tracking anything. And they were lobbing balls over us left, right, and center. It was just pathetic. It was the worst defensive display I've seen under Mikel Arteta.
I agree. And the thing is, all three of those goals, if we had defended better, they would have never happened. If we defended like how we defended it against Manchester United, they would have never happened. Now, I still think we didn't do enough in order to win the game, but there's no way we was losing that game. I mean, yet you can make an argument if Laka had got his chance on target, then that would have been a goal. But for me, I like, why has their attitude all of a sudden just gone in that game? Like, did you just look at the table and thought Aston Villa, we'll take care of them easy? Because they all look like they were half asleep.
Yeah, I mean, CJ saying our front four is the issue. Yep, been said many times, mostly by Bertram, and he said Aubameyang has been piss poor this season. I actually think that Aubameyang in many games has not played too badly. I mean, again, yesterday he didn't play too badly. But the problem is you're asking a world-class striker to be a facilitator, and he doesn't have the skill set. I mean, he isn't, but even with that, he's leading our team with chances created. He's created 13 chances this season.
Yeah, but
so
I mean,
as
we keep saying, he is better up front, and he is the type of player, as far as I'm concerned, to be fed. He doesn't track back. He's not the greatest of passers. He needs to be fed. He's what you call a you might as well call him a poacher, or just somebody who needs to get into that position where he can be fed. That's the type of player. That's the type of striker he is. He's like a Gary Lineker type of striker. He's not a fighter for the ball, and that's where Arteta goes wrong.
I mean, every single game now. We were second to every 50-50 ball. We got overloaded in the midfield, and Arteta didn't even help Partey and El Nene. He just allowed those guys. Every time Partey and El Nene got the ball, there was 3 players around them, each player, because Villa had this 5-man front, and they were just clouding. And when they weren't pressing, and believe me, they were pressing way hard. Yeah. When they weren't pressing, they were clogging up the gaps. They were shutting down the passing lanes. So there was nowhere to go. And I mentioned it to Bertram. I said to him, Partey's getting dispossessed. Thomas Partey was trying to do something with the ball, tried to make a few things. He was getting dispossessed because they were just clogging him. It was the tactics that Dean Smith put in, absolutely destroyed Mikel Arteta.
Yeah.
And that's embarrassing because I've seen Mikel, and this is why I keep questioning what happened to the Arteta on the back end of last year. This guy was going in and destroying Pep. He was destroying Jurgen Klopp. This guy was he was giving it to teams. He's coming out and attacking teams. And we just haven't seen that this season.
Are you not giving enough credit to Dean Smith? I mean, I know it's Dean Smith, but still, I mean, I like you. I think he got his tactics absolutely spot on. I think Arteta at halftime should have tried to match his formation, because I think if he had done that, then Brendan Rodgers does it all the time. Yeah, it would have been a different game. I see Brendan Rodgers, when he's struggling against teams, he just matches them formation and sees quality for quality, like who's better, because that's the only way. But yeah, just didn't do that.
And I think we gotta bring Bertram should have finished work now. So if he wanted to come in here, he would have been able to. But Bertram said something which really disturbed me on the panel yesterday, and Bertram said, how many of these Villa players would get into our team? Now, he already went to the defense, and you know, Leno,
please,
he already went from the goalkeeper moving upwards to the midfield, Grealish and all that. It was
at least half their team.
Difficult. It was difficult.
And definitely the goalkeeper, Grealish, McGinn,
Trezeguet. You're looking at about six of their players that can get into our team. It's embarrassing, really. It's embarrassing, really. Bertram's just came in and said there is a counter for every strategy needed. David Luiz to put them balls over the top to force Villa back. We needed speed in the middle to force defense. I know, and Maitland-Niles would have provided that. Saka didn't have a good game yesterday as well, so we can't really account for Saka.
I'd like to know is, since when did our defenders become the creators? That should be coming from the middle of the park.
Well, it's a strategy that you have to have ball playing defenders in the team, and that's what we've got. The defense didn't play well yesterday, and that's really on them. Normally,
I think there was a little bit of complacency yesterday. I honestly think there was a little bit of not even a little bit, complacency, full stop. I
think that you saw that because of what happened in the first 1 minute and 47 seconds. That's when he was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
And the thing is, and what I say to people is, you know, there are no such thing as an easy game in the Premiership anymore. You can't just discredit them because it's Aston Villa or it's Leicester or it's Wolves. These teams are looking at us and are thinking, all right, so we've got those two in the midfield. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to surround them, and then we've got the weakness on the left hand side or the right hand side. So we've got Rob Holding, and he's not blessed with pace. So you know, we'll play this player so that, you know, he can have Rob Holding in his pocket. That type of thing. That's what they're doing now. We're too easy to play against.
Yeah, we are, and I think that what I said to Neomis, which is the tactical version, which is the you're watching film, you're looking at their stats, and if you're Dean Smith, you're saying to yourself, these guys only have 8.6 shots per game, which means that they don't do very much up front. So let's commit that extra man in the midfield. They had 5. And let's commit that extra man in the box. They had 5 or 6 players in the box every time they attacked, and we couldn't handle it. And he took that gamble because we don't do much creatively on the back end. Now, there were various times that we could have, as Bertram just said there in the chat, used the skill of David Luiz, who didn't play because it was 4 at the back and they prefer him in the free. But there was various times where we could have beaten that trap and caught them cold on the counter-attack. There was various times where you saw that, I mean, a couple of the crosses from Bellerin were quality. That cross from Turney, where Lacazette should have scored, was quality. Yeah. Aubameyang also hit a cross in, again, quality. But we got Lacazette in the middle who can't score. So it's a different argument you're having. But Dean Smith knows this, so he took the gamble, and the gamble paid off.
Apollo, we need to change this because I don't want teams to think that you can come to the Emirates or when you face Arsenal, if you go and attack them, we're going up against Bielsa, who Pep said is a master tactician. We have to change things.
I think I think right now, if you're any manager in the league, you do what Villa did. You just come at us. You overload us in the midfield and wait for Arteta to match your strategy. And if he doesn't, then you just dominate Arsenal because they're not going to score on you on the other end. They're just not going to do it.
Well,
they're not going to do it because they can't score. You
can't say listen, right. Thomas Partey's not going to Ghana to go be with the national team. I hope this was instruction for him to stay and embed into the squad, like some type of secret training going on, because like it is needed. Like it's okay to have the formation that we've been playing, but we need to have a bona fide plan B whereby we cannot play the same way, because like you said, Bielsa, Mourinho, I think what we got Tottenham is not the next game, but the one after that. Like it's coming. And I hate was it Maureen? Oh, sorry, Mourinho.
You can call him Maureen. That's fine. I'm happy with that. Maureen. That can be our new name for Mourinho.
Was it
Mourinho?
Was it one of the viewers? I think her name was Carol. She calls him Moaning Maureen. I won't be able to bear hearing Moaning Maureen talk about Arsenal if he beats us. That live stream will be a quick one.
Look, we can go around the league and we can see that there's a plethora of young, rising talent among many teams in the Premiership. Every team has them, including Fulham.
But ours are being treated like shit right now.
Yeah, but we're not. But the difference is we're not playing ours. Yes, it's nice. Saka's made it. Great, wonderful, amazing, fantastic, brilliant. But we've got other guys as well. And if you look back in the academy, Saka wasn't the best player coming out of the academy. Nelson, Nketiah, all them guys, even Smith Rowe, were touted to be better prospects than Saka. And Saka has seized his opportunity. Give the Pitney them a chance to seize the opportunity. Give them a chance to show what they can do. And please stop this absolute ridiculous reign of giving your veterans the opportunity to let you down every week. Don't do it anymore. It's killing you, Arteta.
And that's why one of the things I'm glad that Arteta's done, or seems to have done, is drop Xhaka.
Yes.
Okay. I'm happy that he's dropped Xhaka, because Xhaka is I call him Shitka because he's that bad. Okay.
Well, and again, that's a victory for us, and having a defense. I mean, somebody mentioned why don't we change a formation to Leicester? I'll see if I can find the comment here. I think he was talking about 4-1-4. Here we go. Right, so it's Osman. So here we go. So Osman was saying, what about going 4-1-4-1 like Leicester did with Uber playing centrally? The reason you can't do that is because then you'll disrupt the defensive stability that Arteta has been able to create with Partey and then they're protecting the back four. You'll just disrupt that. And yes, they were horrible this week, but they're not going to play like that every week. So the problem isn't defensively with this team. But you can't. You've got to go with your stable formations if you're a manager, because that's your philosophy. If you go away from your philosophy, you then get fans that start screaming out, "You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing." So your philosophy is your philosophy. Every manager has it. Every offensive coordinator in the NFL has it. Every defensive coordinator has it. Every coach in the NBA has it. Every manager has a primary infinity of his philosophies that he believes in, and that's what he goes with. And that's what let Unai Emery down. because he was doing all these different things that went away from his true philosophy. We all did the research on him when he came into Arsenal, and when he got here, it was like, what is he doing? Every week it was a different formation. It was a different first 11. He never got to pan down his best team, and he never got the stability in his formation. So if I'm Arteta, it's 4 at the back, it's 3 at the back, but you go with what works. Because if you go outside of your comfort zone, you then you might get worse. You then might go into a situation which is completely unrecoverable. Bertram, you've been listening. You've just finished work. We're here just allowing ourselves to vent off a little bit of steam, as you know, even though I'd already done mine on the video I uploaded, but Neil missed the panel stream. So for his benefit, he's been allowed to stress his concerns. Is there anything that you want to add to it?
No, I guess you guys have said a lot. I mean, look, I think when you assess the team over the last 2 years, frankly, we scored 50-something goals last year in 38 games. This year, we 8 or 9 goals for 8 games, whatever it is. So we don't score goals, and we keep calling for Ozil. Ozil played last year, right? He played before the restart. He played on the Emery. We weren't scoring goals the same way. We're not scoring goals because you know why? Grealish showed us up yesterday. What Grealish showed you is that when you have a very creative player playing outside, you can do a ton. You can draw defenders. You can break up formations. That's what Grealish did yesterday. And I think Grealish is one of the better players in the Premier League, frankly. In fact, I think he's in the top 10 players because...
I think he's top 5.
Yeah, but I've seen him play for the last few years with Doug. And actually, he showed speed yesterday, which I was surprised about. Bellerin couldn't catch up to him. I thought it was funny. Bellerin couldn't catch up with him yesterday when Martinez for the 3rd goal.
I wonder if that was an injury, though, because Bellerin has the same speed. They clocked him twice as the same as Walcott when he was in his heyday. But he's had so many injuries now. Bellerin just isn't that type of player at the moment.
Well, between his injuries and it's late in the game, he probably was tired too. So different rationale why. But look, I think Arteta needs to go. It's good that we lost, actually.
No, it's not.
Because it's good that we lost. So after the Man U game, we got carried away. We scored look, guys. We scored 1 against Leicester. We scored 1 against Liverpool. We didn't score against City. We scored a penalty against Man U. We didn't score yesterday. What's the theme there? We're not scoring goals.
Yeah.
Aston Villa scored 7 against Liverpool. They scored 3 against Leeds. They scored 3 against us. Aston Villa, where the only really good scores they have are Watkins and Grealish. I mean, Barkley can chip in here, Trezeguet, but they don't have a lot of scores on their team. But their primary players are putting the ball in the net against the better teams. Our offense is inept. So we have big-name players who cost a lot, get paid a lot. They're inept, fundamentally inept. Abba is one-dimensional, but he should play down the middle. William, who I'm a fan of, by the way, when he's at Chelsea, seems like he has a Chelsea disease, like Peter Cech or whatever it is not the same player that came to us. Pepe has underproduced based on his supposed capabilities. And
hold on. Pepe, statistically hasn't underproduced for 2 reasons. One, because he's got he's matched Aubameyang's total with 3 goals and 2 assists, and the second is he ain't even starting in the Premier League. He ain't even playing.
So as I said, Pepe has underproduced based on his price tag. Here's something you're gonna understand. When Emery benches Ozil, when Emery bases Lacazette, when Wenger benches Lacazette, when Arteta benching Pepe, when Emery benches Pepe, managers don't bench exceptional players who are producing. They just don't. So Abba never goes on the bench. Even when he's not scoring, he doesn't go on the bench. But why do their players get benched? Because they're not producing. And people have this vision of grandeur around, well, this person is an exceptional player, and why is the manager playing him? He's not playing Pepe because Pepe doesn't know how to play defense. He's one that he doesn't know to run back. He's not physically strong enough. And he struggled. That's why William plays, because William helps out the right back. Didn't happen yesterday. But that's why William plays and Pepe doesn't play. And Pepe had 15 turnovers in the Molde game. I repeat, against a second-class team, he gave the ball. He's like a Sanchez with steroids. He gave the ball 15 times. How much time did Grealish lose the ball yesterday? How much time did Grealish lose the ball against Liverpool, against Leeds, against us as a winger? He doesn't lose the ball. Rarely does he lose it. once, twice, 3 times in a game. Those are exceptional players. Pepe is not playing exceptional. He may be very skillful. He may have a great left foot, but he's not producing. So how can you play a player who's going to put you at risk based on the fact that he gives up 15 ball in a game? I mean, 15 turnovers in a game is unheard of, frankly. Some players like Vardy don't even touch the ball 15 times. You give the ball away 15 times against a second-class team.
Yeah, no, I think.
Work.
Yeah, I did make I made a video on this on my channel this week, actually, when I was talking about Pepe. I don't think it wasn't the preview, it was before that in midweek. And I talked about that. It was 15 times in that midweek game and 10 times the time before that. And I was talking about the fact that when Sanchez used to do it for us, and it was 30 times a game. And then we sold him to Man United. He went to United. He did it 35 one time. And then the next game, it was 38. And then...
Yeah, but Apollo, Sanchez produced. Sanchez was exceptional at times. Assist-wise and goal-scoring.
It wasn't Sanchez at the time produced. He was doing that, though. But
but I'm just saying he produced. We see the production. We haven't seen Pepe yet. Pepe scored 20 goals or 21 goals when he was at Lille. Half were penalties. People seem to forget that.
23 goals and 9 penalties.
Yeah, but they were not all open field play when he scored all those goals. And France League is not the same quality. The Premier League is a tough league, right? We agree with that. But his price tag is going to bog him down for as long as he doesn't produce on a consistent basis. Arteta says this. He's not consistent enough. And that's a problem. We need, at this point, I'm saying give the kids a chance. I'm fed up with that forward line and not scoring goals.
Yeah. That's exactly what I said.
Nelson, Willock, all of them, let them play. These oldsters are not producing.
Because there's one thing I mentioned when I said that, Bertram. I'm not sure whether you didn't hear me when you was working. I said that we did this last year. Why do we think that Martinelli and Saka and Maitland-Niles broke into the first team last season? They did it because these guys weren't pulling their weight. Just want to go to Andrew. Andrew says, "What's Arteta's philosophy?" Arteta's philosophy is the 4-3-3. It's intense high pressing, it's compactness, it's the rondo, it's a high defensive line, it's a high tempo of possessional play, and it's creative play in the final third. That's his philosophy. However, in order for him to enact his philosophy, he needs to be backed by the board to bring in the players that he needs to in order to facilitate that. Now, you can't do it in 1 year. Klopp didn't do it in 1 year. Pep didn't do it in 1 year. And those are the two best teams in the land. So for Arsenal fans to think that he can do it in less than a year, that's not going to happen. So we need to get off the boss's back in regards to sacking him. We can critique him, which quite frankly we have to do as fans. We have to ask those questions. But what we can't do is say his time's up and he needs to be sacked. There's a few comments on the panel from you guys that are mentioning get rid of him. Can't do that. You need to give the guy time to bring in the system that he wants to bring in. And quite frankly, he's still working with square pegs and round holes. But he just doesn't have the pieces yet. We're 2 or 3 pieces away. Yesterday we were talking about in the chat, you guys were saying a couple of one guy, somebody was saying a right back. I'm like, we got Bellarosaurus. But some of you guys were saying we need a centre back. Even though we've got 9, we need another midfielder. I think we need 2 midfielders, actually. I think we need an attacking midfielder, and we probably need someone who's going to replace Xhaka and line up with Givel Nene, a sort of fight for his position. And we need a striker. We badly need a number 9. So in that respect, I think that we can go out there and build this team year on year. Corona's going to settle down now. There was some really good news today about the vaccine in the UK, which is we're looking at 8 to 12 weeks now. And the scientists are saying by next spring, Corona could be a thing of the past. So I'm hopeful with that. They've tested 43,000 people in the UK, and this is working really well. But what I'm doing is I'm projecting Arsenal's income. So in 2021-22 season, fans will be back in the stadium, may even be sooner. There's a new Adidas deal that is going to run its course as well. After that happens, and more money is going to be coming in, more stadium rights. So things are going to be looking well. Don't forget the Sky 5.1 billion deal. that is going to be up as well. And word that I'm hearing from agents is Sky might even be doubling that deal because everyone's coming in. Netflix, Amazon Prime, BT, Apple are coming into the deal. I'm hearing Microsoft are interested. So this bid deal now for the Premier League, if Sky don't double that to 10 billion a season, could you imagine 10 billion? That means that each team.
Apollo, that's all good and well. That's all good and well. But if you buy poorly, you don't get poor results. If you buy poorly,
but
you get all the money in the world.
I agree with that. But buying poorly, yes, we've made some bad decisions, but we've made some good decisions. We bought a spine. So at the end of the day, the more money that we can spend, these teams like Liverpool, they buy duds as well. Man City buys duds.
Apollo, we're going around in a circle. We buy good in defense recently. We buy poorly up front. Our front forward line, as we've talked about numerous times, is the most expensive in the Premier League.
Yeah,
right. So we bought poorly. We have bought poorly, and look, we don't have unlimited funds to spend.
And that's the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying, because we will have funds to spend. We have had funds to spend, even though we sold our left arm in the transfer market. Obviously, that's going to come back to us. And I'm saying to the guys next year, don't expect a big, massive blowout next year because we've really dipped into the pot and take an advancement. But overall, what I'm saying is you come into the team with a business plan, just like any business, just like any job interview. You're interviewing to say, this is what I want to do this year. This is in year 2, I want to achieve this. And in year 3, I want to achieve this. We already know that they were tracking Partey for 12 months. They've been tracking Aouar for 12 months and they didn't get him. They're tracking these guys. They already know who they want. It's on their yellow board.
We're good trackers, Apollo. We tracked Van Dijk for a while. We tracked Ronaldo.
We didn't get him.
We tracked Messi. We have Partey, but here's the thing. You can't get components of what you're trying to achieve holistically, and then the other pieces don't work. So now you have a good defense, your offense don't work. And when your offense is old now, you got to replenish your offense. The defense may get older. You got to get your entire team to work seamlessly, to coalesce, to function as one, and we're not doing that. We have too much piecemeal approach. Now, I agree with you. Firing Arteta is ridiculous. That's not even a consideration. But I would say, though, is yesterday, for example, I wouldn't have played William because what does he have to do to get benched?
Yeah,
I wouldn't have played Lacazette because he's not well. I wouldn't have Ceballos and Xhaka on my bench, 2 very similar midfielders, and then have Willock not in the squad. That makes no sense. You're lacking goal, so therefore you got to make sure your substitute can give you what you're lacking in a game if they're not producing. Who is Xhaka going to replace and Ceballos? They're going to replace the same player. Why you have both of them on the bench? It makes no sense.
But Bertrand, this is the problem. Arteta is playing politics right now. Because if you do not put Granit Xhaka in the squad, because Mikel has outrightly come and say he's a fan of Xhaka, then Xhaka will want to leave. Now we all would be happy for that, but I don't think Arteta wants that. And to be honest, to touch on what you guys are talking about in terms of the strikers, do you really think we're Arsenal going to buy? Like looking to buy a lot over the next few years? Because I don't. I'm seeing all of these young players that's coming through. I've talked about it before. We've got 4. If Following Balogun signs a new deal, we could have 4 young strikers around similar ages between 19 and 22. If you include Eddie Nketiah,
and John Jules. John
Jules is included into that. John Jules, Balogun, Nketiah, Martinelli. You got 4 young strikers. I mean, maybe not all of them are going to make it at Arsenal, but they're all going to get chances. And if you buy another striker, one of them has to go.
Yeah, I was shocked when I didn't see Balogun on the bench last week Thursday. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Look, I'm gonna start beating up Arteta now. I love him. He's my manager, and I'm gonna back him 100%. But I'm going to start to fling some questions his way. Facebook user, I believe this is my cousin, Rusty. What's going on, Rusty? Rusty's saying, so can Arsenal really afford the luxury of having the type of manager that wants to build a team, or should do like other mediocre teams and have a manager who can make the players Arsenal have better? I don't think you can make these players better. I think we saw them at their limit on the back end of last year, where they won the FA Cup and they were turning over some teams in the league. These players have failed so many managers. At some point, you've got to say, These guys don't want to play for nothing. The worst thing was Freddie Ljungberg. When you get a manager sacked and you're looking for a reaction, almost every top team has done it. Not all of them, but almost every. And when we saw them play against Everton, I was... I think one of the games was West Ham, and Freddie deserved that because he previously benched Pepe. He weren't playing Pepe, and Pepe played against West Ham and lighted up. And then we won 3-1 at their place. But some of these things are self-inflicted. And in my opinion, you've got to now understand and get to a point where you've had the players fail Wenger, fail Emery, fail Ljungberg, and while they stepped up a little bit for you, they're starting to fail you. So the old pattern is rearing its ugly head. And what you got to do is do what you did last year. Last year, you said, nah, not having that from you, you're on the bench. Lacazette, don't like what you're doing, you're gone. Bring in Nketiah. All these different things. And we started to see Nketiah and Martinelli and Saka come to the fray. Now, let's do it again because we're back in the same position. These guys... they don't want to play for you, man. They're not trying. No desire, no hunger.
Here's a couple of things, actually. So one, it's not the exact same team as last year, right? Tierney, who didn't play a lot last year, was injured for half the year. Gabriel wasn't here. Partey wasn't here. And Nenny wasn't playing. So you do have a good mix of players who have come in, supplement what we have. I do think Saka doesn't score enough goals. I mean, everybody raves about Saka, but he doesn't put the ball in that net enough, frankly. That's a part of the problem. Abba is not scoring. Saka doesn't score. Lacazette doesn't score. Pepe doesn't score nothing, no matter what you say about what he's contributed. Willian is lost. Your attacking players are your problem. And then we have somebody that scored against pub team, but it doesn't matter. You're scoring. Go out there and he fails. But don't keep doing the same thing over and over again with players who are not producing. Let them fight for their place. Right now, they don't have to fight for their place.
Totally agree. Andrew's saying... there was a question before this actually, which I've missed. So I think the question was, oh God, I can't remember what it was. I'm going to have to look at it. Andrew's saying, question should read, would Danny in swap? That's what the question was. Somebody said we should go out and buy Jack Grealish. Let me tell you something about Arsenal buying Jack Grealish.
It's too late.
When happen.
No, it's not that it's not going to happen. Let me tell you something about buying Jack Grealish. When Emi Martinez said, when you had a choice between Aston Villa and Arsenal, which when you had that proposal for the contract, was it an easy decision? And he said yes. He wanted to get away from Arsenal in a heartbeat. And he wanted to go and play for Villa and be the number one. It's a funny thing when a manager backs you and when a manager shows you love. And I talked about Ceballos and Thomas Partey looking at Arsenal fans on social media, just loving them. These people want to be loved. Ozil left Real Madrid and had 7 teams after him. He went to Arsenal, Wenger, because Wenger rolled out the red carpet for him. These players want to be loved. And at the moment, when you look at someone like Jack Grealish, Villa building a team around him. That's what they're doing. Why would he leave when you've got them? We never built a team around Ozil. We're trying to build a team around Thomas Partey, but it's going to take a bit of time. Why would this guy leave Villa and come to a club like Arsenal? It ain't gonna happen.
Exactly.
It's not gonna happen, guys.
No,
so
I think Villa has American owners, and those guys have certain aspirations. So they're trying to build a squad to win, not just be mid-table. And I'm not sure people realize that. These guys are actually successful business people who have a certain perspective on the Premier League and where they want to take Villa to. They're not trying to be mid-table team. They're trying to win and build a team slowly, utilizing their manager's knowledge of the championship of a key source of talent. They're not trying to sell Grealish to anybody, frankly. They're going to price him out of anybody's ability to buy him, just like Crystal Palace did with Zaha. Now, I'm going to go back on the Zaha train like I normally am, which is I'm a big Zaha fan. Zaha played like how Grealish played against us. When he has the ball, you need 3 players to get him off him. And when you have 3 players going to attack somebody one, that means 2 players are open on your team. That's what you need. You need someone to draw defenders, to create space for others. We don't have that.
Yeah, we've got. I was trying to, while you were saying that, I was trying to look at when Zaha's contract ends. The idiot went and signed a 5-year deal. So I don't know why.
Get 130 a year, wouldn't you?
I don't know why his agent done that deal for him. Let's look at any other questions. Ebony, you want to chime in with something?
No, I mean, I just look at our team and I just think, why can we not score? Why can we not defend? I always question what the team does in training. It's like you see all these videos on YouTube and all great, and that's fine. But but when it comes to teams like Aston Villa, and I'm not taking anything away from them. You can't take anything away from Aston Villa, but we have this complacency of, oh, it's only them. We need to stop that. We need to cut that out of our game. And that's the impression I get. And if you look at yesterday's game, it was just, there was just no fight. There was no impetus. There was just nobody played well. And that's why that's why the highest mark I gave was a 5. It's almost as if nobody wanted to play. And that's the problem with Arsenal. It's like we play these so-called small teams and we just capitulate.
Yeah.
But we're happy to beat Man U, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City. But when it comes to the lower league teams, it's like there's almost this complacency there. And sometimes the fans do it as well. The fans are just as guilty of doing it as well. And I always say, do not take any team for granted, because any team can beat any other team on their given day. And that's what happened yesterday at home.
So
yeah,
I think
Bertrand, can you get that question as well while you're at it? Can you get that while you're at it?
Now, look, Williams should be on the bench. Williams should be on the bench. When you're not producing, you go sit and watch and try to display someone else who's going to take your slot. We don't have time after eight games to babysit you when you're not producing. You're a seasoned player. You've played at the highest level, Champions League. You're getting £220,000 a week. We have no time to babysit. You're not producing, you go sit, because there's replacement there. Pepe could play instead of William. And frankly, even though Pepe turned the ball over, he's more productive. I'm looking at the PL stats, and I see Leicester has 18 goals for, Tottenham 19, Liverpool 18, Southampton 16, 20 by Chelsea. And I come down to Arsenal, we have 9. It's a joke. We have 9 goals for. It's not a defense. The defense gave up 6 goals in 2 games. 3 to Liverpool and 3 to Villa. That means they've given up 4 goals in the other 6 games. So it's not the defense a problem. Yes, we have had the aberration of giving up quite a bit of goals in yesterday's games. The offense is the problem. When Wolves score less goals than us, frankly, and Wolves don't seem to score goals, but they also don't give up a lot of goals. We are not playing well offensively. And until Arteta fix that, I'm not sure how he fixes it, because I do think the Nelsons and the Willets of the world have to play, because I'm done with this forward line. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too.
I'm done with this forward line. After a while, you're exhausted. You say, you know what? You've done it. It's not 1 year. It's not just this year. It was last year also.
Isn't it funny, guys? The king of rant, which is my good friend La African Guna, he's on holiday in Dubai, and he would be blowing his top right now. He would be shooting through the roof. So you're saving yourself. I hope you're having a great time out there with your parents.
It does get to the point where, because we've seen so much shit over the last few years, it just gets to the point where, like, you know what? I can't get angry anymore. I can rant and I can swear and I can cuss, but it's something that we've gotten used to, and the more we get used to it, the more we expect it, and you know what? Like I said, Laka needs to be benched.
Boy, if you saw my rant video today, man, I'll just set it off.
I'll watch it later. But Lacazette needs to sit down. Who else needs to sit down? Well, Xhaka's already sat down anyway. Willian, I've tried to stick up for him, but it's just yesterday's game. It's like, how many times did he give away the ball? And Willian.
That's the first goal came from that.
He gave the ball away 9 times. It wasn't good. Yeah, it wasn't good. And very early in the game as well. I thought a few of the chances that he had, a couple of the guys were open. There was 2 Aubameyang runs on the back end of the left post, and he completely. You can see what William was trying to do. He's trying to thread the needle, but yeah, when you're gap against defenders, it's very hard to do that. This is the Premier League, man. You need to be up on your game. You need to be the best of the best of the best to beat these defenders right now, because they're all on it. Why do you think this team hasn't even beaten Brighton? Brighton done the double over us last year. Yeah. It's not an easy league.
I see Emery is second in La Liga with Villarreal. I'm sure he's like I've left this madhouse in a better place. A very difficult fan base, not giving me resources, not buying Zaha, go buy Pepe, which is what I wanted. Here's the thing though with a manager, which is if you look at Klopp assesses the players who he plays against, and he has a good insight. If you look at how he played against Salah, he played against Mane at Southampton, he plays against Jota at Wolves. He assessed those players very close up and say, you know what, I want this player. He got this capability, even though it may not be apparent. Even though it may not be apparent to many.
And do you know, I'm laughing at this, Bertram. Do you know why you know that? Because when we saw Martinelli, he went out in the newspaper and said, "Oh, I missed that one." He went out and said, "Oh, I missed that one." And when they were talking about when Pablo Mari came over, we know Pablo Mari slapped up Mane in the Super Cup final. The first person that made a comment was Jurgen Klopp, and he was saying he's a very good player, and I wouldn't have mind making him a red. And it's just when you do well. Yeah, it's like when you do fantasy draft in the NFL and you got all your friends around in the summer and everyone's, in your keeper league, everyone's picking those players. And when in my league, when you draft a player, everyone shouts, reach, yeah? But when you draft a good player, everybody's silent. And they're silent because you know that they all wanted that player. It's the same way with those managers. In the old days, when Arsenal used to be bullish and, when they came into money, and they wanted to get a player, it was all in the papers and they were bullish about it and everyone would talk about it. Chelsea would just sit back, wait to see who Arsenal were after. Oh, they're after Sean Wright-Phillips. Let's get him. Boom. We can double his wages. We can double the purchase fee. And Arsenal, that's why you see Arsenal now where they're quiet. They don't want to talk about anybody. They don't want to talk about any player that they're after because they got burned all them years ago when Chelsea used to dive after every player. Man City did it as well, and Man City went one better. They just bought all of our players.
Here's my concern, guys. We're falling further and further behind. Right? So think about our competitors. Think about Man U and Chelsea and Man City and now Tottenham. Think about the Leicesters of the world, even the Wolves of the world. Everybody's catching up. The Evertons of the world. Everybody's getting better, and as you get better quicker, you're going to fall further and further behind. We finished 8th last year, didn't we? There's Wenger left when we got the first year out of the top 4. We haven't come close. Well, we came close under Emery. If he had played the right team against Crystal Palace, we would have made top 4. But
Bertram, I've been saying that to you and Tony for the last few weeks, and I've been talking to you guys about parity. How the NFL and not so much the NBA, but how the NFL works is through parity. And this Sky deal, every club in Europe knows that if any Premiership team wants a player, double the price. And these mid-table teams now, the Leicesters, the Wolves, all these, the West Hams, they're getting some quality players. They're getting players. Yeah, but they're all getting quality players. But what I'm saying is because of parity. Do you remember when these clubs used to sell their best players to the top teams? They don't do that anymore.
Well, they don't need to. They have enough money.
Exactly. So you have a level of parity now in the league that has made it far more competitive than it's ever been in its historical presence. And that's just where we are, guys. I'm glad it's happening because it's made it the best league in the team. But at the same time, when I hear Arsenal fans talk about, that's an easy 3 points. Yeah, we turn up. Yeah, we should turn them over. No.
This is what I keep saying to people. There is no such thing as an easy game in the Premiership these days. Okay? So get that mentality out of your brain and start thinking, well, any team can beat anybody on their given day. That's what a lot of Arsenal fans in particular need to start thinking now. Okay, and stop taking teams for idiots.
Okay, guys.
That's another thing that Arsenal fans do as well. Take teams to fall.
Okay, guys. So, G just messing with me here. Is there anybody that's missing Wenger? Mad. So, guys, we've done an hour and a half now. So I'm gonna go around to my final comments because it's 11:30. It's 10:45 in the UK. My pata soup with mutton and yam, dasheen, dumpling, green banana, everything in the pot. And I ain't even touch it yet. So
it's too late to eat. Put it for tomorrow. It's too late to eat.
Man, I'm gonna go.
You should eat after 8 p.m. You should not eat after 8 p.m.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and lick that. I'm a night owl, aren't I? I go to bed at 2, 3 in the morning. Neomis, let's close out with hearing what you got to say, and then we'll go to Ebony and Bertram.
Well, it was good to get everything off my chest in regards to that debacle yesterday. I just hope that Mikel Arteta is strategizing on how he can improve that front line. I do not want to see Willian in there again, at least not for now. And if he does manage to figure out a way to change it, I truly do believe that we can steer the ship back into the right direction, because it's like you and Bertram have been saying, we got a good defense. Midfield is good. Needs some creativity, but it's good. It's just really that forward line.
Yep. Ebony.
Arteta has got to bite the bullet and start benching Laka. He's got to start playing some of the youngsters, and he's got to maybe drop Willian as well, because he's not producing the goods either. And he's got to start looking at who's letting him down and say to them, look, you're not playing well, so I'm going to drop you, and you will have to therefore fight for your place, and that includes Leno.
Yeah, Bertram.
Well, look, I have confidence in Arteta. I'm very impressed that he's dropping Xhaka for the last 2 games, which I think is very difficult to do when somebody's playing. And Xhaka wasn't really playing bad, but he realized that the Nene Partey combination was a better combination than Xhaka and Partey. He can't score then score. He doesn't have the ability to do that because he's not playing, and he wasn't a great goal scorer and was playing anyway. But I think midfield and defense, we're pretty solid there. I know we keep emphasizing this need for creativity. Liverpool yesterday played Jota, Firmino, Salah, and Mane. And they had Henderson and Wijnaldum in the midfield. I don't see the creativity in their midfield. What I see are 4 dynamic players up front who can create for themselves and create for each other. This whole concept that we need a number 10 to be the creative person, I don't buy into that anymore. I don't see a great number. Okay, I don't buy into that anymore.
You can flip that though and look at what Villa did. Villa's creativity is all in their midfield, and they don't have a front. Really
when you say midfield, Grealish is not midfield.
He's a winger.
Yeah, but he's not a midfielder in the traditional midfield sense. In terms of Partey, El Nene, or Willock, or Xhaka, he's not a midfielder. He's their creative force actually. Yeah, but the Watkins up front is very good at holding the ball up, very good at bringing people to play. He's not a midfielder. What I'm trying to make is that, Sterling is not a midfielder. Jesus is not a midfielder. They're very creative players. Mahrez is not a midfielder. The point I'm trying to make is that the number 10 is dying out. Now, that doesn't say midfielders can't be creative, like Barkley seemed to be against us and against Liverpool. But your 10 are dying because everyone has to play defense. And a lot of number 10s historically do not play defense. It doesn't work in modern day football. So at the end of the day, what you have to do is get forwards who are creative. They can create. That's how you may beat the jump for Zaha jump continuously, because there's not a lot of players who can create mismatches when they're isolated on defenders. Grealish does it, Zaha does it, Sterling does it, Pulisic does it. We have no one. Even Pepe doesn't do it well enough because he's losing the ball too much. So look, I am not down about the team because Biden won, so there's nothing to be down about, no matter what happens.
Amen to that.
I'm not gonna be down.
Amen to
I'm not
that.
gonna be down. I was 5 this today.
But Biden has
tomorrow.
history too, He has his history too.
Nah, yeah, I'm not about that because I've done all the research. He's apologized for all those things, and it's called decency. And Trump's done some really bad things, and I think if Trump had apologized and changed his ways, then he would have won the election and things would have turned around. But Trump's whole thing is about causing a divide. And anyway, that's another conversation. Mr. Bungle has come in with a joke saying Uber couldn't score at a crack house.
Stop it. No, guys, I'm not blaming Uber about scoring. That's not the point with Uber.
I'm blaming Lacazette. Lacazette couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Yeah? It's just one of them things that you have to know that it's just, look, get rid of those players, replace them, and then and give somebody else a chance. Give someone else a chance to shine a light.
I reckon that if when Martinelli gets fit again, Lacazette's gone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Somebody asked.
We'll see Martinelli, because knee injuries are very difficult to come back from and be in form. And it seemed like he had a bad one too. It's not like he had something which is a normal cartilage tear. It seemed like it was a bad one because he's out for 5-6 months.
Yeah.
Normally, when you get a normal arthroscopic surgery, it doesn't take that long. I've had 4 of them, so I'm not sure why it took that long.
Victor's been quite quiet today, but Victor says, "You lot don't want me to shut down and have my dinner, do you? You're pumping in the questions now." Victor's saying, "Have we ever thought that Uber likes to play on the wing?" It's a good thing you answered that, because he talked about when he signed his contract and he was talking to the boss about where he wants to play. My only problem with that is, why did he make 2 appearances in the middle and then was just moved back? So I think he wants to play in the middle, and I think Arteta. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen that. Am I right, guys?
I don't care where he wants to play. He plays where he's most effective. Not where he wants to play. Yes,
but that question only opens up more questions, because we know he doesn't have the skill set to play out wide. However, he scored many goals there, and he's actually our most creative player this season.
I think the problem is because he scored goals there, we say it works.
Yeah.
Right? Because he scores goals up there, well, he did last year anyway, he say it works. But frankly, now that the ball not getting to him in position where he can shoot to the goal, it's becoming very obvious that's not his best position.
Yeah.
I mean, think of how about Vardy played for Leicester, right? He plays on the last man. Now, as a defense, you have to play deeper to contain Vardy, or if you're playing high, he's going to get behind you. That's what we need to do with Abba. Force defenses to change so we can get more room to maneuver. If they want to play deep like how Man City does or Liverpool does and pressuring us, then he can get behind the defense.
Guys, you just need the forward line that is going to score goals. I talk about in 2017, just 3 years ago, Wenger had Sanchez with 31 goals, Walcott with 19, Giroud with 16, and Ozil with 12. And listen, Aaron Ramsey still had 8 goals from the midfield. That's 73 goals right there for anyone who's doing their math. But the fact of the matter is, you had goals from everywhere. Right now, we ain't getting goals from nowhere.
Well, so, I'd probably say, I wonder how many goals we gave up, because none of those names play defense. None of those names. Ramsey and Ozil in the midfield, that means you have one midfielder.
So the good thing about that is, the good thing about that is Wenger didn't buy a Thomas Partey. He never replaced Gilberto, never replaced Vieira. Yeah, and Coquelin. Well, we know Coquelin was a start.
And Henry. We never replaced Henry.
So listen, here we have it, guys. That's us for tonight. We hope that we've given you guys a different perspective, and that we've made you guys. I can see some comments there that are quite positive in terms of give it time. Arteta hasn't been there a year now, and he needs to make these. He's gonna make these mistakes. He's gonna have bad games, but we need to build this team. We have a philosophy. We have a plan, and we have to be patient so that plan can work its way out. And I know it's going to be horrible and there's going to be bumps along the road, but as fans, we can't always have what we want, guys. And you know, right. as Joe Montana used to say, and absolutely, I hope, why am I forgetting his name? Don Shula. And Don Shula used to say, it's not the winning, it's the journey and the fun along the way to winning. That isn't the most.
We're not having any fun not winning. We're not having any fun not winning.
Hey, I'm a Skins fan. I know what not having fun is all about. But guys, listen, that's it from us, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the international week and really go out there.
Boring.
And I know we're in lockdown. Bertram, are you in lockdown at the moment?
This is the UN. What are you talking about, Apollo? Lockdown.
They don't believe in lockdowns.
No,
They
Apollo.
don't believe in
No,
lockdowns.
Apollo. It's not that I'm telling you. No. Here's the thing, though. When you say in lockdown, the UK operates as one country. We operate as 50 countries plus some territories. That's how it works. There won't be any more lockdown. People are not going to have it. What will happen is they'll probably force a mask mandate, for example, so everyone has to wear a mask. Even though it's really bad, I think we've passed 10 million infected people, but it's not going to be a lockdown.
I mean, the other isn't it ironic that on the we cannot talk about football anymore, guys? So we've moved on. We can talk about something else. Thanks for joining us, everybody. The ironic thing is when Biden won the presidency, when it was confirmed, the US had 100,000 cases that day. 100,000.
Those are cases which they have tested people. I'm sure there's more than 100,000.
Yeah. Of course. Well, of course. Yeah. I mean, that's daily.
So that's known. Yeah, but that's just known cases.
Yeah.
They're doing more testing too. They're doing more testing.
I understand that the first thing Biden wants to do is he wants to get it under control, and so he's employing or he's enlisting 12 people.
Oh, he's already done it
to work it out. Oh, he's done it already.
Yeah, he's done it. And do you want to know the joke? I'm trying to get the information here. Bertrand would know who it is. I know the name. It's just escaped me at the second. He took the guy who was the whistleblower for
I forgot his name. But yes.
Oh, I'm trying to. Yeah, Terry
it was
something.
The Trump administration that they weren't doing PPE and they were doing a bunch of things.
Yeah, and he was the whistleblower. Oh, what's the guy's name? Terry something. Oh, I should get this. I'm trying to get where the names are and I can't see it. Anyway, isn't that ironic? The guy that Trump sacked, also there's an African American woman in there as well, and there's a Native American woman that's on the team. So yeah, that's big time. But the fact is, he took the guy. You can't write this up. There's got to be a movie made about this. It's unbelievable.
But then again, what's his name? Donald Dump, as I call him. I mean, I could actually call him worse, but I'm sure there's children watching. But he's still talking about taking it to court if he doesn't get his own way, and he wants to recount. It's like, bitch, you lost, okay? Accept the fact that you've lost. You will no longer be president come the 21st of January. Accept it, move on, and if you want to run in 4 years' time, do so.
Do you know why he won't accept it? Do you know why he won't accept it? Because that's part of his plan. Trump plans to stay around and use his Twitter to rile up his base. Because what's going to happen? This is a center-left moderate government. With these Democrats. These Democrats are actually in a place where they can bring Republicans to the table. We saw the wave of Republican support for Joe Biden, and that is going to play out as these 4 years goes along. Trump knows that, and what Trump is trying to do is just create that divide and instability, and he's going to try his best to rile up his base throughout this whole 4-year tenure so that he can make this as bad an experience for Joe Biden as possible, and that's the reason why
that's what he's doing now. I mean, exactly. if you watch the news, there's so many Trump supporters who will also not accept that they've lost, and so they're going to come out fighting, and they're going to cause a bigger racial divide in America. They're going to cause more problems. It'll be a civil war, I think.
I don't think it'll be a civil war, but I do think America's got problems. I actually shot a video today, which hopefully I'm going to upload tomorrow. And in that video, I said America has a massive problem. And the big problem is this, is Trump had 63 million votes when he won the election 4 years ago. Yep. He's got 70 million votes now. So what does that tell you? That tells you that he's garnered an extra 7 million of support for people who know he's a racist, know he's a bigot, know he's discriminative remarks against females, knows that he paid off a porn star when his wife was pregnant, knows all these different things, calls women nasty because they stand up for themselves. They know all these different flaws, yet they still voted for them. What does that got to tell you? That tells you that these people that voted for him, and by the way, the majority is white male, because the white suburban housewives and the black female vote all went to Joe Biden. That's why Trump lost. But the majority of Trump's base and support and voters were white working male. So that tells you that there's still, if you walk into a shopping mall in America or wherever, indicative of the vote that Donald Trump had, his vote and support is growing stronger. That is a problem in America.
And within those numbers as well, there's a number of black women that have actually started to vote for Trump as well, which doesn't make any sense. Lot.
He's got 94% of the Biden's got 94% of the electorate on census.
So there's still 6% of black women that are voting for him. It's like,
and those 6% are probably making over 400,000 a year and are classed in the higher tax bracket. Bertram said this the other day. When you meet people on the street, and Bertram meets people all the time there, and when you talk to them and listen to them, they might tell you they're moderate or they're voting Biden, but when it comes to the vote, tell them, Bertram, tell them who they voted for.
Well, no. So here's the thing: you guys gotta understand. So this is very controversial. I'm gonna say it anyway. So I give people this analogy. So I probably shouldn't say it on YouTube, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So if you're in the UK and you're 95% Caucasian, and 4 years later you're 90% Caucasian, and 4 years later you're 85% Caucasian, and 4 years later you're 80% Caucasian, you start saying to yourself, as you're here in Charlottesville, we're being displaced. Now, if you're from another persuasion, you may say that's ridiculous and you're not being fair, but the numbers are going down, right? The previous electorate, it was 70% Caucasian. This time it was 65% voting. That's part of the challenge. So it's not that people are racist sometimes. It's that people are saying, you know what? We are being displaced as the majority, and they're very uncomfortable with that. And history shows that doesn't work as well for some people. Now, if you're a minority, you think that's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. But that's how people think. So I never want to label somebody a racist because they support a racist. Because we all know people who we associate with who doesn't necessarily have the best ethics, frankly, in life, and we still associate them because it's been a history. They may be family members, whoever they are. Mm-hmm. I do think people, though, got to think a step back and say, you know what? If we fundamentally treat people as human beings, you're a human being, I'm a human being, we may look different, we may act different, but we all human beings, then we'll be a better place. Right now, human beings don't operate like that. We supposedly are the highest species in terms of intellect amongst all the species on this planet. We don't operate accordingly. And that's part of this challenge that you run into. And look, in the US, there is this big divide because, as you said, the numbers are pretty even. 70 versus 75 million is pretty even. The question is, how do you bring people together? How do you have people talk to each other, engage, try to treat other fairly? And that's going to be difficult. I think Biden has some of the attributes that one need to bring the country together. First of all, you do have to think about if people out in the rural areas are saying we're disenfranchised, no matter what they are, Caucasians, whatever it is, and we're not being treated fairly. This guy talks to us. And frankly, Trump wasn't a supporter for those individuals. He just talked a good game. But you have to find a way to give these people the industries that they had, which are factories, and move to China. You got to give them ability to generate income. It's all about money, guys. If everybody had a job making good money, they'd be okay. In New York City, for example, in the 90s, crime was rampant. When Giuliani took over, when jobs came to the city, when money started generating, crime went down significantly. Why are you going to go rob someone if you have money in your pocket? That makes no sense. That's contrary to how people operate and think. So we as a society, and look, in the UK, you have your problems too. I mean, you still haven't figured out Brexit yet. You still haven't figured out Brexit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think what's important to know is that when I've spoken to a few Republicans, and I know a lot of them, including Greg G. What's going on, Greg? When I speak to a lot of Republicans, I've said to them, what you don't understand is that there's so much hate that has been caused in a divide that you brand these people as liberals, socialists, and whatever, but a lot of your policies are socialist policies. People don't even know what the word socialist means anymore. But my point is this. My point is that the moderate ideas that Biden has is going to suit you. We all know that nobody, even though I agreed with Bernie Sanders' health plan, which OAC backs, the argument from the Republicans is, I don't want your health care. I want to have the option to keep my own health care. And Bernie wasn't given them that option. But guess what? Biden wants to create a universal healthcare which will allow you to have your health option, to have your own one, to keep it. That is going to benefit Republicans. Why? Because it gives them what they wanted. And for the ones that don't have a good healthcare, then they can buy into the system. And then he'll be able to get everything done. The plan that he had, which was going to reduce drug prices by allowing Americans to go to Canada and have those tax-free, is going to, that is the only thing that is going to make the pharmaceutical companies drop the prices, because what Trump has done hasn't worked. He even did an executive order in July, Trump, and it fell on deaf ears because the companies aren't going to move. And they said to Trump, if we reduce our prices, we're going to increase our premium. So either way, the house always wins. This is a casino right here. No company, pharmaceutical company, USA wants to earn less money. So you have to force them to do it, like what we did in Brexit. When we had when we joined the EU and we had that correlation with the farmers, we started getting more farm goods over from Europe. Our farmers in the UK were going out of business. Why? Because first of all, their practices were draconian, and you know, there wasn't energy. It wasn't eco-friendly, that their farms. And their prices and their practices were way out of sync. What that did when we started to get a lot of farming goods from the EU, it made the UK farmers better, more resilient in their practices, better business models, and more competitive pricing. So that is what Biden is going to do. Listen, drugs in America is a real thing. Yeah. When my cousin tells me how much she's got to pay for a packet of ibuprofen, it ain't no joke. When I travel to Miami and Orlando, my suitcase is full of ibuprofen and full of paracetamols, because people in the UK don't understand. Look, I use a drug for my back called naproxen. A lot of you lot know what it is. You would die when I tell you how much naproxen is. $400 or $500 in the States.
Expensive over there.
Yeah. My prescription for naproxen is £8, which is about what, 11, 12 bucks.
So I said a couple of things. I don't disagree. I don't disagree that prices need to be better here. It needs to be more economical. But I've been in the UK, and about your healthcare system, I wouldn't. Let's just say I've been cheated in your healthcare system. I'll take my system, this American system, any day if I can pay for it.
But that's never been an argument. I know the American system and how it works. In the UK, I have something called HSE, which helps me claim 50% back of if I go to the dentist, if I go to acupuncture, if I get any treatment, I can claim that back. I have my national insurance, which I pay, which gives me free health, which is what you just talked about. And I have private. So I have my Prudential, which gives me Bupa. So if I want to get something done, like I had MRIs on my spine the other year, I can do it that way. So I have the option to have private health, free health, and I decide to take the option to have private health. You can do that. Americans want that option. Bernie and OAC weren't giving them that. So my point to you is that Biden is actually going to give them a universal health plan that works in their favor, and they will benefit from it. And this is the thing.
Yeah, I think part of the argument, which I don't agree with, is that if you promote universal health care, if you give universal health care, then there will be no incentive to buy private insurance in the US. Now, I know I've been in the UK, so I had private insurance in the UK actually, because NHS I didn't buy into. I've been to a few NHS doctors. Let's just say I'm not going back. But anyway, I'll say this, that here, the whole concept is, look, private works, right? It works, but it's too expensive. It's really ridiculously priced. So it has to come down.
For you, it is. For me, my tax code changes and I pay a little bit extra. That's it. Because my company.
No. Look, I have insurance in my company, but it's still expensive. No matter how you cut it, especially if a family. Healthcare is the most significant cost for most households in the U.S., especially when you have a family. It's just ridiculous. And so they have to figure out a way to make it more reasonable for individuals to be able to afford healthcare. Obamacare had its benefits, but it also has its detriments. Hopefully they'll figure something out.
And Bertram, sorry, before you go, Ebony, I wanted to say that, remember, that Affordable Care Act plan had only been 60% pushed to where it needed to be. It's not finished. And Obama made that clear that it wasn't the finished product. And they didn't get to finish it because Hillary knew about it. She was going to carry that thing on. Now Biden gets to come in there and finish it and help with the premiums. That is a big problem. For some people it worked, for some people it didn't. But, we can't argue the fact that 22 million people have got healthcare which wouldn't have had it before. But it's not a finished product. So you're right. You're 100%. Ebony, sorry, what was you saying?
Yeah, didn't Obama want to? Didn't he want to do a model in America based on the NHS system?
No, that's Bernie. No, that's Bernie.
Obama.
No, Obama wanted to do something similar to that, which created the option for people to go in and out of it. Whereas Bernie's option is to do like what the UK, where everybody has to pay a pot of their salary, and then everybody gets it regardless. Because Bernie's right, healthcare isn't a privilege; it's a right. But it's just the way he did it. He wouldn't allow people to keep their premiums, and that's what Biden is doing, and that's what the Republicans want.
No, I mean, is healthcare right? I guess for some people. Look, if you grew up in Europe, if you grew up in Europe, if you live in the UK, for example, you actually think about the collective. You believe NHS is good. You believe all these things, which are programs supporting the less fortunate, for example, are good, and society should promote those, and you should fund those. If you're from the US, for example, where it's a capitalist society, your view is every man for themselves. You work hard, you work smart, you generate income, and you promote, you can increase your wealth and help you move, progress in life. There's a fundamental difference between a Western European way of thinking and operating versus how the US operates. Fundamental difference. And some people in both societies just scratch your head and say, I can't believe that you believe that others should support people who don't want to work. And with you can't believe that anyone would be so selfish not want everyone to have healthcare.
And the one thing I have to say to the British people as well, because they I don't know whether they understand how it all works in the Senate, but when Obama had all of these ideas and Mitch McConnell said, I'm going to block you and you're not going to get anything through, who do you think was the man who pushed through gay marriages? Who was the man that pushed through the child tax break? Who was the man that pushed through the Affordable Care Act? It was Joe Biden that got that passed in the Senate. He was able to bring the Republicans to the table and get that bill passed. It was him that did it. And he's the president right now. So I did say to Bertram the other day when we were talking about this, I said that the difference is those Republicans 9 years ago in 2011 are completely different to the ones that are now. These Republicans now are Trumpist. They're Trumpers, or whatever you lot want to call them. Joe Biden's going to have a different proposition trying to get these guys to the table and pass bills. It ain't going to be pretty.
And I take it right now the Senate is 50-50 with Republican and Democrats.
That still hasn't been sorted out in Georgia. There's 2 seats in Georgia.
Yeah,
2 seats in Georgia.
48-48 with 4 seats to be decided. 2 sort of decided, and the 2 seats in Georgia will decide who has majority. Yeah. If they're tied at 50-50, the vice president make the decision. Yeah. It's a tiebreaker.
She makes the tiebreaker,
so you hope you get to 50-50, but it's going to be hard to get there because I think Georgia may go Republican, frankly, at the end of the day. Slightly.
You think so? One of the guys had a 9-point gap, but the other one had a 3 gap in deficit. So it was there or thereabouts, but it's not looking good. No, it's not looking good.
Yeah, no, it's not looking good. North Carolina should have flipped, actually, but the guy there had some problems, some personal problems, which created some angst at the last minute, but he should have flipped that seat.
I think that was the state that really shocked me in the end, and I'm still scratching my head why. We'll have to have a look at that and see what happened. No, North Carolina. Yeah. Florida's been its own thing, but you have to remember, Arizona hadn't been flipped for 24 years. Georgia hadn't been flipped for 30 years.
It's not flipped yet. Yeah. I know the prediction is that it's flipped, but it's not flipped yet.
Come on, what's your name? Rudy Giuliani.
It's not flipped yet. They're still counting. Every time they count, Biden has less and less of a margin. So we'll see.
All right, guys, I'm going to go and have some soup now. Have a great week, you guys, and I'll catch up with you soon. Peace right back at you. Nice one, guys.
Take care.
Excellent.